when I came across this startling fact, it ignited my next mission. Women and girls receive less than 1.8% of all US charitable giving. I want you to know that's less than animals receive. I was like, no, that can't be true. Let me do some more research. Well, it was true. I was outraged. Where would I be today without the women in my life? So I realized there's critical importance in inclusion and not just in playgrounds. And so once again, with renewed determination, I gathered a village and we formed a collective giving organization called She Angels Foundation, where we give grants to female-founded and operated nonprofits who provide funding, mentorship, and resources to women and girls.
My next guest was recommended by the Three Tomatoes publication and Glow Beauty magazine. Catherine Curry Williams is the author of the best-selling book, Philanthropy on a Shoestring: How to Make a Difference on $1.40 a Day. She's the co-founder of two extraordinary philanthropic endeavors. It's a pleasure to meet you and to have a chance to talk with you. You are a very busy person. So one of the things that's really stuck with me was some research that you did and also read about the percentage of money that women and girls receive. I had no idea that it was so low.
Listen, that was so shocking because 1.8% of all charitable US giving only goes to women. And when I say only, because close to 3.5% go to our animals, which we love, but we are the last on the chart. I do not believe, I could not find any research, myself and others that I asked to do research to make sure I was getting, could this be true? There's nothing really to be found before 2016 in the Lilly Family Foundation, where they were really tracking women and girls' causes. And that included medical stuff. That included causes such as Planned Parenthood and like that you wouldn't think were causes. And grassroots organizations are, to me, the most valuable players in our community for us to give back to, not in philanthropy, so to speak, versus charity. Let me just say charity versus philanthropy. Philanthropy is a strategic, you give all the time, it's consistent, giving to a cause that you love, in what area you give to, whether it's children, elderly, women, animals, religion. So that's ongoing, and philanthropy is ongoing, the love of humanity. That's what philanthropy means. Charity is usually it used to be really just an emergency basis. So there's a disaster, how people give. So when they're looking at on a long-term philanthropy scale, that's where these charts come in. And yeah, for us to be on the bottom of the chart, especially, this was 2019 when I started looking into it, and the first was the information I can find was from 2016. And even today in 2025, that needle has still under 2%. That needle has not jumped. And I think what surprises you and will surprise so many others that are listening, men and women alike, that it's so low is because what we see is more women in business, more women are entrepreneurs, more women are holding board seats. More compared to what is the question that I don't think we asked, because it's only 1%, I believe, of businesses owned by women are $1 million businesses. There's 99 other percent. I might be off on that number specifically, but so low. It's like, yeah, compared to what? So how many women sit on boards? Now what, 10%? It's like our percentages more, I think we thought, and many people think, oh yeah, this is the day where we are, we are becoming equal, equity of our, pay. It's not true. Is it rising compared to? Yes, but the rise is too slow and shockingly too little. And this is where I dove in with the organization that we started, really, She Angels Foundation. If you're talking about that collective, that number put me into action to start this
Well,
org.
many things put you into action. And if you want to give a brief explanation of what inspired you to create She Angels Foundation, what brought you to that, I would appreciate it.
Well, for She Angels Foundation, what inspired me was that number. But the history behind me being even in the, and all of this is volunteer, and what I call myself as I am an activist. I was fortunate enough to be able to be in the position to be an activist. I started, very humble, very poor, grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I just learned that we gave, if we had a dime, we gave 3 cents. You didn't not give. That was not a option for us. You baked a pie, you took something to a neighbor. That's kind of how I grew up. My mom and 4 girls and the dog. The dog ate well. We ate, and those who didn't. So I think ingrained in me was always the sense of that community and giving. But what led me, I think, to what I was destined to do as an activist was the loss of my first child, Shane. He was born. He was born with a fatal disorder called spinal muscular atrophy, Werdnig-Hoffman, and it was fatal. And he was paralyzed at birth. So I assumed that we were taking home our beautiful baby boy, who was just so beautiful and born full term, but he could not breathe. But I thought when we took him home and off all the machines, he was going to be paralyzed. That was for sure. But they didn't know the diagnosis was fatal for 2 weeks. And when we received that diagnosis, things changed. And I'm not going to lie, it took me a year to get out of bed when I was inspired by a woman who lives in Connecticut who did something good in her son's memory. And that sparked, well, I can get out of this bed close to a year later. Like I can live, because I did not know I was going, thinking I could live without, after having such a, uh, loss in my life of that, the loss of things that were to come, because Shane was a baby when he died. But there was so much possibility. That loss of possibility really put me, it knocked me and my husband and my family. But Amy Barzak, who lives in Connecticut, did something in memory of her son. And when we spoke, it changed everything for me, because it was not about me. Now it was doing something in memory of him for the other children that had disabilities. Like I thought Shane was coming home in a wheelchair, and discovered that playgrounds, thanks to Amy, who alerted me to this. And then I did my own research in Los Angeles, California. Playgrounds weren't playable for children with disabilities in wheelchairs. They were accessible. And I rallied families that had children with disabilities to ask them this in the way of research: why don't you go to accessible playgrounds? They were like, well, he can't get out of his wheelchair. She can't drop her crutches. Only 10% of children with disabilities, especially mobile ones, where it's just mobile, they can play and have as much joy as anyone else, but they can't slither out of their wheelchair. I mean, I was like, what? They're not playable? Accessible doesn't mean play. Like, that took some time. And of course, that was true. That's why they didn't come.
I want to re-speak that. Your discovery that accessible does not mean playable in those playgrounds. That's a big discovery.
I mean, a big discovery and tears. At that time, who was my really close friend, Tiffany Harris, she and I went to a lot of these playgrounds that were, and there were a lot of tears. And those tears went right to everyone we can call and say, this is wrong. And now we actually spoke to families and we know why they don't go. So why are you retrofitting every single playground? And Los Angeles had the least and the worst playgrounds in, like, I think, I don't know, I forget where, it's 28 years later, but now there's the best and the most. And we have what we call universally accessible playgrounds where everyone can play without boundaries. They can play side by side. They don't have to do exactly the same thing. They can play side by side with each other. And it's not just ramps, it's thoughtful play areas where they can play together a child, a peer maybe, or your sibling could be in the sand portion and you're above pouring in the sand. And landscape structures was it's the playground manufacturer who now has partnered with Shane's Inspiration, which is now called Inclusion Matters by Shane's Inspiration. So I knew nothing about any of this when I began. I knew that I was a mother with a deep sadness and a passion to help and do something good.
Boy, did you help. You have over 90 such playgrounds, probably more at this point in our discussion. You have the information in 5 different languages. That's amazing. You're in how many countries? You're in countries around the world.
In
I
5
mean,
countries and 30, they're actually the teaching, the program that was developed at Shane's Inspiration is a program for schools and how to I'm going to use the word see, it's left my head, so I can't use it. But talking about peers playing together with all
sure,
abilities, and that's in
sure.
30 countries and in 5 languages. It's an education program because all of us weren't really educated, and more children, and now we're becoming we are a world community in its way. We see it's all over the world. It's not just in our backyard. And we want to talk, tolerance is the word that it's a shame, and when it comes out of my mouth, that I feel like we're teaching tolerance, because tolerance is um, we don't just want to tolerate, we want to integrate, we want to um, include. So tolerance is a stickler word for me, but in these inclusion and immersion programs, let me use those words because it rolls off my tongue. Uh, Or in all countries, and including, of course, ours. I don't know how many states we have these inclusion programs, but it's important to educate the children. What I learned, and the adults, because I'll tell you, as an adult, what I learned is if there's a child or an adult in a wheelchair, they don't want you to turn away and pretend they're not there. Absolutely the opposite. If you have a question, ask them point blank. Maybe how did you get into that chair? I mean, obviously to the where you feel comfortable. Or if you're a child, what does that chair do? What can you?
I'm going to interrupt you because I have a more difficult question that people probably have not asked you.
Okay.
How do we make more people like you?
Well, I think collectively, I think people are good and want to do what I do, what you do, what we see, but they feel that one person can't make a difference. And I think to make more people like me is to turn and look into the mirror and say to yourself, if I can do one thing, don't go like I'm changing the world. Start with, if I can do one thing, that that's something that I didn't do before. And we become an example, and it is tell a friend. I'm old enough to quote that Prel commercial, if you remember. You tell a friend, and a friend goes like, wow, this is the information. We have to spread the information, and spreading the information that you are important. You, as one person, you can make a difference because you and 10 of your friends, I wrote a book called Philanthropy on a Shoestring, How to Make a Difference on $1.40 a Day. And the reason being is this will go to our next, what I do now with She Angels Foundation, is every person that puts $1.40 away a day for 1 year will have $511-ish, because I forget the cents there. And can't ask Siri at the moment, but math was not my strong suit. By the way, I didn't grow up with money, or I had an education, but really wanted to hang out on the street corner in Brooklyn, did not. So it's more people like me are just the everyday people who share common interest of community and the love for humanity. So you're all out there. It's just you're afraid to start and give yourself permission. So I gave myself permission a long time ago. Sometimes I still have to give myself permission on other things, but I'm working on it. That when you're doing for others, I think it's easier to give yourself permission. Ask for them, it's not for you. What
So the She Angels Foundation. Let's
so
get to that.
$1.40 a day for a year will give you that $511. You and 10 friends, which you can have a book club or what, that's 5,100 and, do that math. So with that $5,000, you can give a grant to a community that needs it, a grassroots organization in your neighborhood that's a nonprofit, that $5,000 to that organization will be probably $50,000 because they have volunteers like She Angels Foundation. We're a group of 350 women, give or take, on and off, because more people donate, of women who collectively pool that money, 500, some people do 5,000, they do $3 a day. We pool our money collectively and we give grants. We started in 2020, and to date, we've given $350,000 in grants. And these are women on budgets. These are women like you and me. There are women who have been wanting to do things that say, well, we don't make a difference. Well, we can. And it's just, you have to start. You have to throw your hat over the wall and say, okay, now let's go get it. Let's see. It started with the idea that I didn't want to have to do fundraisers. So how could I wanted to redo a model. I knew model of groups that do membership organizations, and that's sort of what we are, except that it's not a cost, it's a complete donation. If you donate anything over $500 a year, you can come to anything that we do that's She Angels driven, and we do Angel Power happy hours once a month, and we give a grant in New York, in wherever we are, we're in Fargo, like in LA, in San Francisco, in Texas. We give grants to communities all over the United States that apply to sheangelsfoundation.org that fit our criteria of women operated and owned and run nonprofit organizations that provide mentorship, resources, and funding to women and girls, whatever age, but they focus towards leadership organizations. We've given 65 to 65 different organizations, $5,000 to $20,000 grants. 5,000 is our average. Some of our members match those donations because they're very enthused about one organization or another. But at that $500 conversation, you can come to any of our events without being, I don't like a paid gala. It takes you money to make money, and I didn't want to get in that circle and be all stressed out because I'm a volunteer myself. And fortunately, we're able to do what we do with our cell phones, our computers, we do have 2 paid employees who I say are the chief bottle wash and cook and really make everything run, the finances, but we have an exceptional board of directors and an exceptional advisory board, which in my book, I guide people how to do a collective giving organization if they'd like, not even making themselves a nonprofit, but collectively start a group. They can give to a nonprofit. They could find someone like She Angels or find us. And we have what's called giving circles. They just create the circle of friends that raise this money throughout the year. And then they don't, so those people get a tax write-off. So if they've donated $500, they send it into a nonprofit called She Angels Foundation. This Sunday we'll be giving grants, and Three Tomatoes and Glow Health and Beauty Magazine, they started a giving circle. We've already given $15,000 worth of grants in less than 2 years, just for their group of women. People that want to give. So that's how we multiply my idea of how do we give. It's not just mine. I'm just maybe revamping it because I feel like there's probably nothing new. But if you like it and you have an idea, you need to take action on it. And I'm kind of action oriented and I love to gather people. Did that answer it?
Oh, you did great. I'm totally inspired by you. But what would be a big vision for you? Obviously, more money going and more groups being created around the world and here. But what would be what's your big vision? What's your big dream in this?
Well, at She Angels Foundation, at this point, the next step really for I always said nonprofits, our big goals should be that we go out of business because this is not needed anymore. Women and girls are leveled the playing field. Children leveled the playing field. Seniors, they're not, health. We should take care of our own to where not nonprofits are begging for every dollar and competing against each other. So my big vision is for us not to have to be a community of giving, that it's not a community of competition of where the dollars go. But prior to that, I think I'm going to hit a more realistic goal of creating a documentary. My vision for that is She Angels, The Rise, because it's not just our organization. It's about the women, and I think women are very solution oriented. And I want to look about I'd like to see the history of where we are and educate where we think we need to go from that, where we were, Gloria Stein, how we came to where we are and where to go. And I think education in that area through media now will help the global listening, the global communication about it, because I can't duplicate myself in running all around all the time. And even those, the more She Angels Circle Foundation, She Angels Circles that we have, that's what we call them. They're not, it's a circle, not a chapter, because they don't have to have their own board. They don't have to have their own work. The more flags I see we're putting in each state around the country. What's important about that is communicating this critical unmet need that women and girls need funding to become the leaders that we know that we've always have been meant to be. And to do that through, as we know, the biggest is the media is, and so a documentary is a big vision, so we can get to around the world without, exhausting ourselves. And then from there, the strategic planning on creating that needle from 1.8 to go above and beyond where we are level the playing field.
You must run across a lot of brilliant individuals and extraordinary women, not just in your immediate circle, but have any celebrities jumped on board? I mean, it seems to me that they would champion this. This is quite an opportunity to endorse your organization.
Right, right. Well, for Shane's inspiration, there were many celebrities, ones that come to mind. I mean, too many really to come to mind, although Halle Berry was a huge, uh, you know, I remember losing vision for 10 seconds when everybody was taking pictures while I stood next to her. I was like, oh, this is a whole other level of celebrity. Barbara Streisand has taken notice, and her sister is a very active member in She Angels Foundation. And it really, there's really not, and we're in California and Hollywood, but we are the very, the word I can't say that the word that I'm thinking, we're such an authentic community.
I think you're grassroots.
And
Really,
we
what
are
you're
so
saying.
grassroots and so authentic. We knew from the minute we started that we wanted this money to go into action. We weren't sussing out anybody. It was like, not just come to us, but here's what we're doing, and we're moving and we're moving and we're moving. And really, it's truly just by word of mouth. And for Shane's inspiration, there were over the years so many celebrities for our cause. And for
Okay,
Shane,
so that's okay. So let's
yeah.
let's invoke that now.
Yes,
You've
well,
got Barbara
Michelle Obama is
Streisand,
my biggest celebrity in my head. If I have my
Michelle Obama,
Michelle Obama is in me, so who is celebrity to you in our heads, right? Um, that's
and
the
has she
celeb-
expressed interest?
and well, not yet, but
Not yet. Okay.
she is, you're talking about your wish list. It's Michelle, and Marianne Williamson is a friend and a supporter, and
Hmm.
I can't think people. I don't really separate them out. They're all my friends. I'm like, oh, right, that
Well,
she's
Cheryl Benton.
and
Let's
Cheryl
honor
Benton,
Cheryl Benton and
sure.
say thank you to her. And so we'll make sure that at the end of our conversation, people can write. I suspect you still can receive donations if people want to give you money, correct? You don't just have to give it through a circle.
No, no, it's on our website. Absolutely. Thank you for saying that. Because also, if you want to say in memory of someone that you love that has passed, or I want to tribute someone who's going through a graduation and it's 18 and she's a girl and she's just graduated Barnard, or, the, or, that particular happy birthday to someone. So you can make a donation in any way you like. That money will go to the charities, and you'll see all the charities on our website, and you could click right to their website and what they do. And we give to a diverse portfolio of women and girls charities, really diverse, because there's so many good women out there working in leadership, in education, um, in health.
I want to thank you for being here and for who you are in the world. And I look forward to more work from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.